Let's turn to business news now with our man in Wellington, Jonathan Mitchell. Hi, Jonathan. Further news about strength in the economy?
That's right. Last night, you remember we had those solid run on truck movements from the ANZ data. Tonight, we've had a really strong showing in job advertisements in the month of November. Really solid right around the country, except for Canterbury. Canterbury's doing its own thing, really, as the rebuild starts to slow. Certainly strong demand for construction and manufacturing workers around the country, especially in the likes of those regions going gangbusters with the housing market. And it really shows that construction, tourism and migration is really giving the economy a good nudge at the moment. It's really pushing it along. There are some headwinds though, some bugbears biting for employers, and that's the availability of skilled staff, something that's coming through in a lot of data sets at the moment. And that may really lead to some wage pressure, some wage inflation, which would be good for getting that CPI, the Consumers Price Index, up back into that target band 1 to 3%. It's really hovering at around nothing at the moment, 0.3%.
So tourism, migration, construction, the service industry, people who work with the tourists, booming. What about dairy? Some new figures out because obviously, as we all know, tough times there. How's that faring?
We had another rise at the overnight auction, as we've been reporting today. It's the fourth consecutive rise in the dairy auction, really getting some solid momentum from about the middle of the year onwards, which is a good sign for dairy farmers. Whole milk powder back into that range of break even, over $3,000 a tonne. We're starting to see some good demand from overseas, especially in China. That's continuing, and production has pulled back, which is supporting prices. More important though, today a lot of the banks have raised their own forecasts for what they see as Fonterra will pay for this season. ANZ, Westpac and BNZ now sitting well over $6 a kilo of milk solids. ASB, who's been quite ahead of the other banks this year, ahead of the pack, they're still sitting on $6 a kilo, which is where Fonterra is. Just a point, Fonterra is holding its annual meeting tomorrow in Darfield. We don't expect them to raise their forecast, but we're going to hear probably a lot about how the performance of the company, performance of the season is going.
Thanks, Jonathan. We will be covering that tomorrow night, of course. What happened on the markets today?
Well, point of note, over in Australia, they had some economic growth numbers contracted in the 3 months to September. The first contraction in about 5 years, fell 0.5%. If we get 2 quarterly falls, that would tend to lead to, a downward trend for their economy. So the NZX Top 50 index back here, though, fell 21 points, ends at 6,890, and the dollar hovering around 71 US cents and 95.5 Australian. John.
Jonathan Mitchell, thank you very much. Jonathan Mitchell is our Wellington-based business reporter.